That bottle of wine that you picked up on your last visit to the grocery store might be tainted with deadly arsenic. That's what new studies are showing. Recently, it was revealed that several California wineries had exceeded the allowable amounts of arsenic in their wines, which has spawned a massive lawsuit against those winemakers for their negligence. Joining me now to talk about that is Michael Berg. Michael, it looks like, you've always been involved in America's biggest cases. But I got to tell you, as I look at this case that we're talking about here, the wine industry, this is a big one, and it is a very important one. And I guess I ought to start off by saying good job, first of all, because it looks like nobody else had enough guts to go forward with this, even though they knew there was a problem. Lay this wine story out for us a little bit.
Yeah, let me first make sure everybody understands that we're not against the wine industry. As I said at the press conference, we love wine, we love drinking wine. The problem is that the cheap wines, there's 83 wines that have been tested in which the amount of arsenic is more than double the amount of arsenic allowed by the EPA in drinking water. And in some cases, it's as high as 600 times 600% more than what's allowed in drinking water.
Okay, let me back up just a little bit. The EPA said, look, in order to keep people safe, and this wasn't just the EPA, it was many, many studies that came out of virtually every major science institute in this country.
And the International Health Organization also came out,
NIOSH, that's right. So they came out and they said, in order to keep America, to keep people safe, we have to have standards, and we studied and we studied and we studied the standards, and the standards said that you cannot exceed a certain amount of arsenic in drinking water.
Right.
You can't.
Right, 10 parts per billion.
10 parts per billion. They said if you do, the problem is it causes neurological disease, has potential to cause cancer, has potential to cause leukemia, and a whole host of different problems. I mean, there's a whole list. That's not exclusive. It's not all inclusive. But arsenic causes bad results in human health.
It's poison.
Okay.
Arsenic is poison. It's what they use to kill rats. It's rat poison. Arsenic is poison.
Why is it in the cheap wines? Why is it there to begin with?
Well, you know what? Let's start with, there's really, and again, we won't know until we actually see their testing, but the testing showed, it's important, I think, to break down the arsenic from organic and inorganic arsenic.
Okay, explain that.
Organic arsenic will come from the soil, and we've seen that in the apple juice cases, we've seen it in some of the rice cases, and the inorganic arsenic, while it's dangerous, is not as dangerous as the inorganic. The inorganic comes from pesticides. It comes from filler that's being put in. We know on the cheap wines that we believe that they don't do the filtration properly, and we actually, through our insider, the wine industry insider Kevin Hicks, who actually brought the case to us after he found out when he was just testing wines that these large amounts of arsenic were in the wines, in these cheap wines, $10 and less. He went to the wine industry and they refused to talk to him. And they shut the door at him. He came to us. And then we took his tests, we retested them, and then we even went to a third testing company, and we broke down the inorganic and the organic, and most of the arsenic in these cheap wines is inorganic.
Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean, first of all? And second of all, where do we find it the most?
Okay. What it means is that the inorganic is somewhere between, at least experts have said and studies have shown, 300 to 500% more dangerous than the organic arsenic. And you find it the most in the cheap wines. The Franz, we have a whole list of wines that contain it.
Is there a website you have that people that are watching this can go to the website? What is it?
It's taintedwine.com.
Okay. Now let me back up. Let me back up here just a second. Somebody so it's been tested. Independent labs have looked at this on two different occasions.
Three independent labs.
3 independent labs. Now, this is something that's centering in California right now. In other words, you brought your case in California because they have statutes that allow you to go forward with these types of claims, where they say we want to protect the health of our citizenry. So where is this right now? How is the wine industry responding to this, Michael? What are they doing? What are they saying?
Well, what they're saying is it's pretty interesting. I actually had a debate on NPR with someone from the Wine Institute. What's interesting is at this point in time, they are not challenging our results, which I think is quite interesting. The results we show, which is up to 5 times the amount allowed in drinking water, no one is saying your results are flawed. What they are saying is you can't compare wine to drinking water. And what they're saying is people drink more water than wine. Unfortunately, I know some people who drink more wine than they drink water. So let's start there. And number 2 is, what difference does it make? The question is, are you going to have large concentrates and large percentage of arsenic in your wine, regardless?
It's totally avoidable, Mike, isn't it? I mean, it's totally avoidable.
Is. And let me tell you why. Kevin Hicks he tested 1,300 wines and came up with 83 that were more than double the limit for drinking water. And we know that there are other companies, and I'll give you one for example. One of the largest winemakers in the world, Gallo, and they have wines that are $10 or less. They do not violate the drinking water standard. So we know that a winery can if they want to worry about the public health, they can make sure that they don't have levels that are in excess of the 10 parts per billion. They can do it through better filtering. They can do it. We found out, Mike, that there's this grape goo that for some of the cheap wines, and we have cartons of it, where they put that in, and that has 10 times the amount.
And this is mainly from pesticides. It's a cumulative. What we're talking about is a pesticide problem here, because the leaf of the grape is so large, it bears such a burden of the pesticide, and that's where the grape gets its nutrition. Did I get that right?
Well, that's partly right. It's coming from there, but it may be coming from other sources, which is you're buying this cheap grape goo, which we don't even know where it's made, where they've not filtered it at all. And then they also use some arsenic in some of the white wines for clarifying, to actually make it look better. And so the combination of the pesticides, this goo, which is the unfiltered grape juice, basically, to make it look like wine, and then the clarifying arsenic is what causes the levels to be so high. And every expert on arsenic will tell you, number one, you don't want any arsenic in your wine if you can help it, even though almost every wine has some arsenic in it because of the nature of the soils in which it's made. But to have levels this high, it's a health risk. And what we asked was they take the wine, the box wines, the cheap wines, take them off the shelf.
Yeah. In other words, the solution here, Mike, and we're out of time, but the solution is this is not against the entire wine industry. It's the people who are cutting corners, creating a cheap